support made this commission possible, as well as Freelands Foundation, who have generously supported our coincided public programme. Next, I would like to thank Tom and the team at Glanville who worked on the fabrication of this project and Emily for installing, as well as a big shout out to Hackney Council for all of your help over the week. But lastly and most importantly, I would like to thank and celebrate Veronica Ryan, whose vision we get to share today and every day. From beginning to end, it's been an honour and a privilege working with you, and I'm grateful to you for sharing your memories and experiences with us all. And now, I'm actually going to hand over to Councillor Carole, who is the Council's first lead member for Windrush, who has conducted incredible work in the borough and beyond to support the Windrush generation and our community as a whole. So everyone put down.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for turning out. I know it's raining slightly. The rain won't last for very long, so please do bear with us. Today is the culmination of 2.5 years' work, and it's been quite a journey. Thank you for everyone who has participated in that journey with us, who's taken part in the consultation process, who helped us on the commission itself to go through the submissions, who helped us with judging. Thank you to all of the staff of Cllr. You've done an amazing job putting up with me. And to all of Hackney Council staff as well, and of course to you all for being here. So we started this journey a couple of years ago when the council made a commitment to the people of this borough. We passed a motion saying that we would honour, we would recognise and we would acknowledge the Windrush generation, we'd recognise the harm and the hurt done to them by the hostile environment policies and the Windrush scandal. We also wanted to make a commitment to celebrate them, and so we do that each year on Windrush Day. But this, today, what you're here to see unveiled, is a permanent national artwork and the first of its kind in this country. And to do that, we set up a commission. And that commission decided it wanted to do a number of things. First of all, we really wanted to use this as an opportunity, as I say, to present a national artwork. We also wanted it to help give the current generation and future generations a sense of belonging. Hackney has always and will always be a welcoming borough, a borough that welcomes migrants, and this is a symbol of that. So who is this generation we're talking about? Well, they will be marked by arriving from 1948 on a boat named the Empire Windrush, and they have been named after them, that boat. The men and their women from many occupations. They worked as not just nurses and bus drivers, but there were doctors, there were nurses, there were judges, there were scholars. They came from every area of life and every island across the Caribbean. But that boat also carried people from Italy, from England, from Poland, from Northern Ireland, from Scotland, and even Mexico. And they were coming back for more. They were going to their homelands. So I think the boat in itself is a real symbol of what it means to be a one nation out of many, right? And I think that's what Hackney is like. We're one people, and we are from many different parts of this world. And so I'm proud and I'm honoured to be the lead member for Windrush at this time, to have taken part in the commissioning of this piece of work, to be here today with Veronica. And I want to say a special thank you to Veronica, because as we were discussing her submission, and there were many submissions, as we were discussing her submission, there was quite an emotional response from us to that submission, because of the meaning of food, taste and smells and the emotions it evokes in all of us. And so that's the reaction that we had. That's what you did for us. And I think that this artwork will do the same for everyone who passes it every single day, who walks past this narrow way, who uses it as their route to go home, to go to Hackney Central Church, to take the train at Hackney Central, and to shop in the area. It will last forever. It will be here longer than you and I will be here. It is a permanent mark of our commitment and our honour, our acknowledgement to a generation whose memory was being erased, but now will remain for a very, very long time here in Hackney. Thank you very much, Veronica. So all that is left for me to do is to introduce you to the Mayor of Hackney, Philip Glanville.
Thank you, Carole. You're going to hear across the two speeches that Carole and I are giving some common themes about why this day and this artwork are so important. But I also have the difficult job of trying to thank everybody involved. So if you will bear with me, I do have a written speech. I can see Patrick Vernon though behind the camera, and I recall, I think 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, you sending me a petition about the Windrush scandal and saying, would you sign it? And I was honoured to join a tireless campaigner in Patrick Vernon in signing that petition very early on, that went on to be discussed in Parliament. I think is the origin of the current campaign around the Windrush generation. So I just wanted to honour Patrick, because without him, I don't think we would have understood and had such a passionate national campaign. I want to echo what Councillor Williams has said. This is a deeply important day for Hackney. We're incredibly honoured to have the very first public artwork for the Windrush generation. I do just want to say though, it's a generation that's still with us. We are celebrating a migration story, a legacy of building this country and this borough. But there is a present generation still around us, telling their stories, taking part in Windrush Day, taking part in those events, and just really proud of what they're doing now, not just what they did. And also, as Councillor Williams said, it's about the future. It's about what they continue to do, the legacies in their children, the legacies in what they have built around us, that we also mark here in terms of this artwork. This comes with a context, and it's a really important context, as Councillor Williams said, around the hostile environment and the current debate about who we are as a country, what we value, and how we support our fellow citizens. But for Hackney, this isn't just one anti-racist moment or one campaign moment. We have a long and proud history, a radical history of standing up for people that have arrived in Hackney, telling their stories and campaigning on their behalf. And there has always been a link between that political struggle and the artists of our borough. They have translated, they have told those stories, they've highlighted those injustices, and they've also celebrated. And it's the celebration element that we're talking about here today. But I just want to thank everyone, because I see lots of artists from Hackney's past and present here today. I think it also comes after COVID. It's a moment of hope. It might not feel that hopeful in a rainy October, but it is a moment of hope. As Councillor Williams said, we started this artistic journey, the artistic element of our work around Windrush in 2018. And that was the height of the discussions around the hostile environment. It was a time when the Home Office was attempting to I'm going to say whitewash the Windrush scandal, and we were going to do better than that, and that's why we set up our own art commission. And we wanted it to be something that the people of Hackney were deeply involved in. This wasn't a town hall project where somebody commissioned a piece of art and then said, here you go, Hackney. This was a process that went out to the artistic communities of this country and said, what would you do? But also, how would you involve the people of Hackney in your artwork? What would it mean to the people of Hackney? This isn't just an artwork coming to Hackney, this is of Hackney. And I think this is what Veronica has done. I did promise Veronica, though, that I would not interpret her artwork, because that is her role very shortly. It was a process, though, that involved elders. It was a process that involved young people from our youth parliament and the Hackney Young Futures Commission. It took over the ground floor of the town hall, and so it was a deliberative and very democratic and very open process. And I contrast that with some of the national processes when they talk about art commissions. It also, I think, bookends what has been an absolutely terrible year for the diverse communities of East London. We've lost Windrush elders that started this journey and aren't here today because of COVID, because of inequality, and because of racism. And so this is that hopeful moment that I said, but I think it's worth remembering the losses that we've had in this borough, the murder of George Floyd, and what Black Lives Matter still means to so many in this borough and around the world. We're also at the start of Black History Month, and it's a season in Hackney. It's not just confined to October. It branches out, it touches intersectionality, it's seen queer people of colour carnival, it's seen a co-designed Black History flag that Deputy Mayor Bramble commissioned, and it continues to enliven our whole cultural year, and not just in one space. But it is a special time of year, and that is why we are here today. I said I was going to talk about the thanks. Obviously, my first thanks is to you, Veronica Ryan, for the work that you've put into this artwork and taking the time to think about what it would mean to the people of Hackney and spending... I would also like to thank our partners, Create London, and especially Lewis Gilbert and Lauren G, who have diligently and passionately and tirelessly led on the curation of this artwork. They've looked after our artists, they did that public engagement programme, and the broader team are also part of the Ridley Road Stories project that is under the Hackney Central bridge behind me as part of Future Hackney. It has also been funded by funders. This isn't a project that's been paid for by Hackney Council. So the Art Fund, the Freelands Foundation, additional support from the Alison Jacks Gallery, the Henry Moore Foundation, the Paula Cooper Gallery for believing in this project, and all of them for backing it with their funding. Without them, we wouldn't be able to have this public artwork in Hackney. I'd also like to thank the Windrush team within the council. This has been a team pulled together from across the council, from the heritage teams in the archives, the library and the museum, to the comms team and the culture team. So Petra Roberts, who led on much of this work during this time, very sadly cannot be with us today, probably for obvious reasons that I'm not going to name, but I know that she's also been helped by Sherry Baker and Karina, who without them, none of this would have been possible. There is also an incredible black artistic resource in the south of our borough in Shoreditch at the Autograph Gallery. And Mark Seeley, who leads that project, has been an intrinsic part of the artistic challenge that a project needs to deliver. And I'd just like to thank his expertise, wisdom, passion and activism for just not only what he's done here today, but his constant fight for better representation in the arts. And this project is a very visible example of how we're reclaiming the public realm for more diverse stories. He's been in that fight from the very start, and I'm just pleased that we're able to see in another part of Hackney that take shape. I'm very near the end. The Art Commission panel wasn't just Councillor Williams. It also included Deputy Mayor Bramble, Adrian Jarrard, Polly Chook, Irving Anderson, Esme Fieldhouse, Patrick Vernon, Habida Rashid, Polly Staple, and as I said, also co-sponsored by Councillor Williams. I see Deputy Mayor Nicholson here today. I'd like to echo the thanks to the Hackney TAP for organising the logistics, Veronica's family, who are with us as well, who have been an intrinsic part of this process. And as I hand over to Veronica, she is one of the most incredible people with one of the most interesting stories and artistic visions that I've ever had the pleasure to meet. Thank you for picking this part of East London to continue your story and help us tell ours. Veronica.
Yesterday, and I was rambling, so I decided to write it down, and so I'm probably just going to read what I've written. But thank you very much for coming out in the rain. It's wonderful to see so many people. Thank you very much. I'll just read my statement. I'll just start. First of all, I would like to thank everyone for everything. Hackney Council, Create, the people of Hackney, my family, and my lovely daughters who are here to celebrate with me. The family has been wonderful during these extraordinary times, making sure everything was ready on time. It has been tremendous working with a wonderful team of people accomplishing these sculptures here in Hackney. None of this would have been possible without communication and mutual respect for each other. We have all lived through and continue to live during very challenging times. Collectively, individually, globally, we are navigating one of several pandemics in our lifetime and witnessing enormous social anxiety coming out of isolation. I was an infant during the 50s, post-war Britain, and internalised many adult struggles and anxieties experienced from, of course, growing up with my family and from the wider society. Young children rely on their parents totally. Early ruptures often have lifelong consequences. We arrived from Montserrat in the 50s, and of course there are enormous struggles still impacting us. Food is vital to our survival. Familiar food and food of celebration, trying different cuisine is an essential part of our social interaction. I have some early memories of going shopping with my mum to Ridley Market with my sister in the pushchair. I went with my mum a few years, just recently, a few years ago, and she said how much it had changed. She said some of the stalls were missing, nothing was in the right place, and we walked up and down also looking for a fabric shop and a cake shop, and of course we found Soursop and Breadfruit and so on. But my mum is really good. I wanted to buy a Soursop and a Custard Apple, and my mum was pointing out to the shop stall owner that why was he selling rotten fruit? And anyhow, I want the community to enjoy these recognisable fruit and vegetables on a human scale. I like the idea of eating a Soursop while sitting on the Soursop. Of course, minding not to swallow the many seeds. I want the community to feel ownership of these sculptures, take care of them as family, for children and adults to enjoy them. As well as Ridley Road, there are many stalls which sell these foods along here. There are foods which grow back home. And another word I like is big up. Please take care of yourselves, enjoy this space. I like the fact that the sculptures are next to St Augustines Tower. It's the oldest building in Hackney. The Windrush ship drowned in 1954. I see some symbolism in that. How did the village and river in Oxfordshire come to be the title of this ship, whose original name was Monte Rosa? I would like a moment of silence to honour all of our ancestors and the living. you. My mum isn't able to be here today, but my mum often sings hymns down the phone. And my mum was checking in to make sure I was going to sing the entire hymn. Anyhow, the hymn is Peace Like a River. Thank you very much.
Now we're just going to have Veronica unveil the three sculptures that she's made for all of you guys.
Take this home.
Yeah,